I adore your transparency. I adore how straightforward you are. I love that you are so comfortable with yourself. You're so comfortable with what you do, because I am a behaviorist, and I did watch your videos to see how you felt
Oh,
about your own job. And I feel that you are the best educator when it comes to sex ed, because you give us the absolute reality about sexuality in so many different aspects. And I literally feel like your videos should be shown in high school.
wow. That would be something. I mean, the whole point is that I love doing it and I love being interviewed because I want to be honest about it, because there are so many things out there that it's all a bit fake or twisted or whatever. And I wanted to educate people because they've got so many misconceptions about the whole thing. And I thought, no, I'm going to try and use each opportunity to educate people so that people have the facts rather than just what they've read.
You are an icon, my love. Did you know that?
Well, I was told that by Olivia Atwood over here when I did a documentary with her. And she said, "You're my icon." And I went, wow, that's good coming from you.
Did you know that I was a stripper for 20 years?
I didn't until Jessica told me the other day.
And I do the same thing as you. I demystify it and I help people understand that we can do this kind of work out of sheer pleasure. I was 6 years
Yeah.
old when I told my mom I was going to be a stripper. And you.
No. Wow. How did
So
she react?
I was 6 and I couldn't wait to tell her. Like I could not wait for her to come home after this revelation that I had after watching Sally Rand in a black and white movie. And she came home and I said, "Mom, I know what I want to do when I grow up." And she said, "What?" And I go, "Be a stripper." And she was like, "Oh, okay." But
Really?
from 21 to
Wow.
41, I did it and I loved it.
Good for you. Why
So,
not?
oh, well, why not be liberated, right? And that's what
Yeah.
you did. You
Yeah.
were religious before you here you
Yeah.
are, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you're religious. What religion was that?
Well, I was a born again Christian. I went to different churches. So, like, I started off in a Pentecostal church. Then I went to a Baptist church. Then I went to one of what were new churches back in the 90s, 2000s, different branches, groups diverted away from the mainstream churches. And although I was brought up a Catholic, got to put that one in.
How old were you when you were born again?
17.
So had you had sex before then?
Yes.
And were you like, was there any shame attached to that?
Only when my brother found out, I think, that I had had sex with somebody. Don't know whether I was 16 or 17. And let's just say he wasn't too impressed.
And so at 17, you became born again.
Yes.
And you were abstinent.
I was for the next 40 years, yes.
40 years. And then what happened? Like what was the tipping point for you?
Well, I left the church because for all of my life, I say all of the 40 years in the church, but actually it was all of my life, because my first trauma happened when I was probably about 6 or 7. So, and then every few years I would have another trauma. And I think I was only 17 when I first tried to take my own life. So, and then that happened throughout all of those 40 years as well. And each trauma just built on top of the previous ones because they were never dealt with. And it just kept building and building. And so my mental health just got worse and worse. And sort of like about every 10 years, it would hit rock bottom and I would be suicidal.
Yeah.
And all of that time in the church, the only help they were offering was to pray for me. And none of their prayers were answered. So I just continued all the way through, having thousands and thousands of people praying for me and it doing absolutely no good whatsoever.
Right.
So there came a point when I was 57, about 57, when I thought, you know what? I don't belong here anymore. I don't have anything in common with these people. So I left the church. And then within a few weeks of leaving the church, I had a social worker. I was ill, went to hospital, had a social worker come to help. And she introduced me to a lady that did a therapy called EMDR. And that completely changed my life.
And you felt like you had your mental health under your own control and you started to feel empowered?
Yeah. I mean, it was basically 7 hours spread over 2 weeks. And it dealt with every single trauma in my life. Having had counselling, Christian counselling, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, and none of them doing anything, in fact, sometimes making it worse, to then discover this other therapy that I could just deal with the whole lot in 7 hours. So much so that it was like people didn't recognize me because they were used to seeing me be depressed, you know, from time to time and struggling, obviously, with my mental health. And suddenly they were seeing me and they were going, wow, what's changed? You're so different. And I told them, I said, it's this therapy.
I love that for you. When you say trauma, are you specifically talking about sexual trauma or other types of trauma?
All of that.
All of
Yeah.
it. And so you went through this therapy, you felt empowered, your mental health was now under your own control, and something made you decide to not only become sexual, but to monetize your sexuality.
Well, I had started swinging when I was 57. And so I didn't leave the church until later than that. So I started it when I was 57, although I didn't tell anyone because, you know, you can't tell people in the church that you're a swinger. Doesn't go down too well. So one or two friends knew that I was sort of meeting men. we didn't go into details. And then so that having been approached by a 27-year-old rugby player, it awakened, let's just say, an interest. So I joined a site, met a guy, and we did oral for the first time in my life. And he couldn't believe it, you know, when I sucked him off. And he said, oh, my God, woman, where did you learn to do that? And I went, it's my first time.
Ooh.
So I did my first blowjob at the age of 57.
Wow. Had you watched like dirty movies before that? Because let me tell you, my education came from dirty movies.
Really?
No, yeah. Which I started watching at 14, but I didn't do it the first time till I was 17. But I had an idea of what to do because I had seen it done. But for you, it was just pure.
No, I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Well,
And yet,
because, you know, 40, well, I don't know how old you are, but when I
51.
was, okay, so quite a bit younger than me. So when it was back in the 60s, 70s, when I was, you know, 17, 18, there wasn't really anything, you know, there weren't toys, I don't even think there were movies. I mean, we didn't even have a television till I was 12 or 14. So it was a whole different life then.
So
I had no access to anything.
pure instinct. Was it fun for you the first time you gave oral?
Well, when he did it on me first, and all I did was giggle
Right.
because I'd never had anybody do it to me. And I didn't even know what it was supposed to feel like when you haven't had anything. And because I've been a Christian, you have no access to that. You know, the vast majority of people in the church don't. You know, it's because they don't have sex before they get married. You know, they're so naive. And all of that stuff just doesn't enter into it. And it's like, you know, they frown upon it. I mean, they don't believe. I remember we had a quiz, a question and answer session for in the church. One was for single people, one was for married people, you know, and you could text in your questions, you know, that you wanted to ask. And of course, I was extremely naughty. And the two questions I asked was, are you allowed to masturbate? And what was the other one? Can't remember now. And the person on the stage that was doing the answering, this was single people, and they had single people answering the questions. And this woman that answered it was basically, no, you are not allowed to masturbate, you know, and you're going to hell if you do.
Right. Did you believe that?
No, because by that time I was, you know, in the swinging world and was not going to believe anything I heard in that church. So yes. I just went along for a bit of fun and to see what kind of questions people were brave enough to ask.
So I mean, I would imagine that you becoming comfortable with your sexuality would start between you and your hand, right? Like you pleasuring yourself. Or
No.
was it the other way around? You first started with people and then you learned to pleasure yourself.
Yeah, I had never masturbated before. Yeah, well, it was when I met this guy off this site. And when he would come round to mine, after we'd done it in the hotel, he then came round. And because I was so tight down there, he could barely get a finger in. So he was brilliant, and he just gradually opened me up down there and bought some toys. And the first one was a Jessica Rabbit. And that was the first orgasm I had, was with that.
Amazing.
So we just went on, and then I started to use it myself.
And I got to tell you, I saw in your interviews where you were talking about how, you know, sometimes they don't get off, but when you finish yourself off, they always pop off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got a glass dildo, and for most of my clients, I get it out and have a good go, you know, and I get extremely wet and I gush. I've yet to meet any of them where that doesn't, you know, do the trick. If they're having trouble getting hard or anything, it's like that does the business for them.
This does something good for me about men, that, you know, at least our pleasure will trigger something for them, and that it happens across the board. I actually like that fact.
Absolutely. I mean, the majority of the men, funnily enough, one thing that I've learned is that the majority of men have never had toys used on them, or have ever been asked by a woman to use the toys on them. Because I love it if the guy will use my wand on me. I get a much better orgasm if the guy's doing it than if I'm doing it myself.
Have you ever come across men who don't want to take instruction?
Only a couple. One, and they were both arrogant.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah, the vilest one. He thought it was his right to dominate women, full stop. You know, he told them what to do, which is always a big mistake for anybody that comes to see me. And the other one, he wouldn't listen. You know, when guys, you know, are doing oral with you, going down on you, either using a finger or using their tongue, or or whatever, you know, and to be fair to them, you cannot expect them to understand, particularly if they're coming to see an escort, every woman, because we're all different,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so the majority of men, they will do what they think we want,
Right.
only to find out that that isn't necessarily the case. And this particular guy was a bit forceful,
Mm.
you know, he wasn't gentle. And I was going, oh, you know, careful, careful, gently, gently, you know. And most guys, I have to say, give them their fair due. When I say that, they go, oh, sorry. And I go, it's not a problem. Just do it. And I explain how to do it. And then they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
But this one guy, he wouldn't. I kept saying gently, gently, and he wouldn't. And I was lying next to him. And after I told him 3 times, I got hold of his cock and pulled it as hard as I could. And he went, ow, that hurt. And I said, it was meant to. I had asked you, now you know how I feel. And he left still not really understanding and tried to contact me again a few years later. And I said, no, thanks. And he said, well, why? I said, because I didn't enjoy it last time. I said, and he went, well, and I said, no, you didn't do what I asked. And I had to get hold of your cock and yank it. And he said, oh yeah, I remember that. And it hurt. I said, yeah, because you wouldn't listen. You just wouldn't listen. And I said, I'm sorry, but no, you know, and you left. And I said, I felt that you still didn't understand. And even when he contacted me this time, I thought, no, you still don't get it.
You are such a perfect sex educator. Oh my God. I love you. I love you to bits. I really, truly do. All women need to hear a woman talking about sex and her own pleasure and the boundaries and how to exercise boundaries behind closed doors.
Well, a lot of women, you see, this is another thing that men don't understand. And maybe we should tell them, maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. I'll see what you think. And that is that I don't know what the statistics are over where you are, but apparently over here, 3 out of 5 women can't get an orgasm naturally, either with a finger, a tongue, or a cock. Okay? They fake it. And men do not realise. And then when the guy has gone, the women get their toys out and give it themselves because they're too embarrassed to tell the guys and to actually talk about it and sort it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I certainly faked it many times.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah. But not anymore.
Good girl.
But I did fall for the, listen, I didn't have my first orgasm until I was 21. And it was because I read The Joy of Sex, because I got tired of never having an orgasm. So I got the book, The Joy of Sex, and I followed the instructions on masturbation. I took a nice shower, smoked a little bit, got myself in the mood, did some pelvic exercises, lit candles. I romanced myself.
Wow.
Oh, yes, I did. And I gave myself my first orgasm. But before that, I fell for the boys who said, oh, you haven't had one yet? I'll give you your first. Ladies, listen to me. It's not going to happen. You got to do it first. But here, I love the example, though. I mean, I love that you had somebody who was a careful, conscientious lover who took a lot of pride in his desire to give you an orgasm and to really show you how that was possible for you.
Yeah. I mean, he really cared. And so I was very lucky that I met him, and that he was the second person I met. The first one I met in a pub, and when we came out, his whole attitude I didn't like, so we didn't take it any further. And then I met this guy, and from the first night, we met in the pub for a drink, and we just got on so well, had a good laugh, and that's why I went out the next time to have a meal. And then he went away to Canada, and while he was in Canada, he said, I want to ask you something. And he just did it, respectfully, the right way. So I trusted him, and I was right to, because he was a caring man.
So, question about swinging. I've been to swingers clubs. I'm a voyeur. I'm an exhibitionist. And so, it was my idea to go to swingers clubs once I found out about them. Was that something you were introduced to, or was that something you said to yourself, I heard about this, I want to go try it?
No, after I'd met this lovely guy on this other site, we went. So we met up regularly. We didn't know about the swinging then, but we met up regularly for a while, and then we kind of fell out because I don't know whether every man has a little category somewhere in their brain that they behave like a twat, you know, and I found that spot. so, so we fell out and we didn't speak for quite some time. And then in the meantime, another guy that I'd met on that site came round just to have a look at my boiler because it wasn't working. And he said to me, I've been going to this club for the last few months. You should join me.
Yes.
And so I did. So we arranged a date. It was a party night, which maybe wasn't the best time to have your first experience. But I went along. And that was how I was introduced to swinging.
When you went for the first time, did you only stick with the partner you went with, or did you try other people while you were there?
Well, he introduced me to another two couples that he knew. So there were lots of people mingling, but he introduced me to them. So we kind of stood around, six of us chatting. And then they showed me round the place. And I saw places like the dungeon and the cell and the dark room and the glory hole. And I'm thinking, oh my word, what is this place? And so we then carried on chatting. And then it was kind of like, shall we go off and, have a little play? So six of us went into this room, and one of the ladies there had not squirted until she was in her 50s, and she'd only first squirted about a couple of weeks prior to that. And so I did not know anything about squirting, so that was my first time of seeing what goes on there. But now she was squirting for England, so I think all of the guys were playing with her just so that she could squirt. Yeah. So we were just kind of laying on the bed and standing and whatever. I got a massage from a couple of the guys, and I sucked a couple of their cocks. That was my participation. And yeah, so it was just like kind of, wow, how did that happen? But he said to me afterwards, as we were going home, what did you think? And I said how I felt. And then he said, you should come back on another night when it's not a party night and see it how it normally is, when it's not so busy and frantic.
Right.
So I did. Went back a couple of weeks later. In my job now, I find out how to pleasure them, because I'm providing the service. So, and a lot of them will say, oh, but I'm here to pleasure you as well. And that's lovely, but it isn't a requirement of the job, so to speak. So when they want to, it's like, oh yeah, okay, lovely, thank you. But I want for them to have a really good time. And I always say to them, even if they're having a problem down below, or then they're a bit nervous or whatever, my thing is, look, whatever happens, and what doesn't. The important thing for me is that you have a good time, you leave with a smile on your face, having a happy ending. And that's what they all do. And they all say, and they find it so relaxing, because some escorts will say to them, and which I think is wrong, well, if you can't give me a good fuck, then you might as well piss off. But that's not what we're here for. We're not here for them, to pleasure us. We're here to provide a service for them. So they like coming to me.
Yeah. As a stripper, something that I said is I'm here to sell happiness.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with
Absolutely.
that. You've reached a certain level of notoriety. Does that mean you've upped your prices?
No, funnily enough, I was talking to somebody. I did a photo shoot up in London last night, and I was chatting to the guy there. And I said, people say, oh, you should charge more, whatever. And I could, but again, I have a different opinion to a lot of people in that I'm not in it for purely for the money. You know, I'm not one of these people. I mean, yes, when I got into it, it was to help me to pay my mortgage, but I didn't have these dreams of earning, thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds of money and making, as much money as I possibly could. That never entered my head. I was just earning enough to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've paid off the mortgage, my attitude is, and people say, raise your prices, but I would like to provide the service for as many men that want it. So I get people who could afford to pay more, but then I get men who actually have to save up to come and see me. And so I want to be able to do that. I am happy, very happy with what I'm charging.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I stay happy with what I'm charging, I'm pleasing more men, which to me is better for me. Not saying that's what everybody should do, but it works for me.
I completely understand that. I 100% understand that. Yes. Icon, golden hearted icon, service to humanity icon. I truly, I can't tell you enough how much I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, it's
Uh,
good. I love it when people like my honesty, that I say it as it is, that I don't bullshit people, I don't put on an act. This is it. This is me. Take it or leave it. I will say it as it is. You may not agree with it, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to. You may not, if you want. I mean, why do you watch it? Why do these people who find it all so disgusting and distasteful and whatever, why do they keep watching?
yeah.
Baffles
Uh,
me.
this is a question that I think aligns for both of us here. How many men visit escorts looking for a human connection over a fuck? And I know for me, I had regular customers. Like there was as a stripper, I saw my personality. And then I had the people who came just to look at my TNA. And then I had people who came and they were regulars because they were lonely and really enjoyed the girlfriend experience, the conversations, the closeness, the cuddling, as much as the
Yes,
sensuality and sexuality. What about you? What's your experience?
absolutely. The most popular request, because when they contact me through adult work, some of them are, yeah, need a bit of help in so many ways. Like they'll start off with hi, or I want to come and see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come on, a little bit more. So I say in my profile, don't make a booking without first contacting me to see if I'm available. Secondly, when you message me, say when you would like to come, how long for, and what you would like to do during the time. Now, a lot of them do read the profile, but the vast majority don't even read the profile. They just click on you and send the vaguest message that comes into their head.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because they're thinking of down below, and because let's face it, if men are horny, normal conversation goes out of it, really, doesn't it? So, but the most popular request is girlfriend experience. I mean, I didn't even know what it was when I started. I had to look it up.
Right. So for me, girlfriend experience was before I do the dancing part, it's
Right.
just sitting and cuddling for about 15, 20 minutes. And then I do the dancing and then I do sit and cuddle for another 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. You see, now I didn't know that, so I've learned something as well from you
Oh, okay.
doing that.
What,
And
what
but
was
yeah,
your girlfriend experience before? Because
so
now it's going to change.
because so and everybody's idea of girlfriend experience is of course different, which but it is. They do just want that closeness, that cuddling, and also they love kissing. A lot of them love kissing, and I love a good snog. It turns me on. That is because when they say what turns you on, well, that is the thing. As long as it's a dry one,
Okay,
okay.
can we just clarify for the people across the pond what a snog is?
It's a yeah. What is the term? What would be the term over there? French kissing, and so it has to be dry because I have had guys where they're on top of you, kissing you, and they may be the most gorgeous man, but all of their saliva is dribbling out down your face. How to be turned off? That one is. So yeah. So I love the snogging, and they will ask, "Do you kiss?" Because a lot of escorts don't.
Yeah.
So and I can understand if those that are in a relationship or have a husband or whatever, they like to keep that personal for their partner. But as I don't have one, then I'm very happy to. So yes, and the cuddling, the kissing, the cuddling, just the touching, sometimes a massage, sometimes just chatting, and then whatever else they have asked, I will then say, if
Mm-hmm.
because I might be playing with them as we're doing all of that and seeing how they're responding, shall we say, and
Right.
and then I start to go down on them.
As a girlfriend should.
Exactly. I mean, we didn't. Of course, when I was young, that was not part of girl experience. Oh no, you would be called a slut if you did that on the first day.
Well, you know what? We're breaking the rules, aren't we? And making our own.
Thank goodness for that. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got to be liberated from
I,
all of those things.
I agree. I actually wrote a book on matriarchy, the rebirth of matriarchy.
The
So,
rebirth of
so I wrote a book called Evolution Revolution. And
okay.
what I'm very busy teaching men and women to do is to evolve out of patriarchy and to select matriarchy instead. And I use bonobo monkeys as an example because we're under 5% genetic difference from bonobo monkeys. And if we look at their sex life, it's really quite wonderful. When the females greet each other, they give each other a little twiddle. If they're both standing over the same piece of food and they get tense, they twiddle each other, then share the food. A male will be beside him, and you see the female go shove, 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 pull, and then she,
Yeah,
gets him on top of her, and they have a quick. It lasts like 10 seconds, and then they're done, and then they each just sit there and go on with their day, fully satisfied.
yeah, marvelous. You
Yeah,
see how much we can learn from
yeah.
animals and birds and all the other creatures.
I like this question here. So, what's the most common lie men tell you about why they're there?
It's difficult to know whether it is a lie or the truth. Um, a lot of guys just don't tell you anything about why they're there, apart from the fact that they need satisfying. Would frequently hear, "I've got three options. One is I can just put up with it and never have sex again," which is the depressing one. Two is I can go and have an affair,
Mhm.
and that will ruin everything and people get hurt. Or three, I can pay to come and see somebody like you. It's anonymous, nobody gets hurt, and everybody just carries on with their lives.
Do you find there's a difference between how single men versus married men treat you?
I don't usually know which one they are when they come to see me. They don't all disclose that fact. Some do, or some will actually say in the message, "I just need to tell you I'm married.
Hmm.
Is that okay?" And
Right.
I'm thinking, well, the percentage of married men who are going to an escort is pretty high. I mean, obviously, because that's the safest way for a man to get his needs met, a married man to get his needs met. Whereas a single guy, it's different. They may not have found the right woman, they may because of work or other things not being in the right places at the right times to meet a woman. You know, they may not want or feel it's the right time to enter into a relationship with a woman. So there's loads of reasons why the single guys come to see me. In fact, the other day, my favourite guy client, I only realised the other day that he was only 47. And it was only, I thought he was a little bit older, not much, and maybe early 50s. And he said to me that, I mean, he loves coming. He's got three of us, you see. And we all know that he's got the three of us because we give verifications on the site. So I can see when he's been to see the other ones, and look at the feedback. And I often tease him about it. And but I think he comes to us because we provide a different service for him as well. So with me, he likes it because we can just have, well, he loves snog. It turns him on. It makes him hard. And I do. He likes me to dress up. So he, in sexy clothes as well as sexy outfit, because normally I just wear a lingerie with a dressing gown. But he always asks me what he'd like me to wear. Could you wear your red, and could you wear your black dress or whatever, and your different colour shoes or whatever. And so he likes that because that also turns him on. And he said he's always saying how sexy I am and how gorgeous, which of course is wonderful. Who doesn't want to hear that? But he also says, but you're very dangerous.
Dangerous because he liked you too much?
Well, I mean, I regard, he is absolutely wonderful as a man. He's going to make somebody a wonderful husband, I'm sure. And he's now getting pressure from friends and family to get married and have children, he told me. But he doesn't feel ready.
Yeah.
And he's not even sure whether he ever wants to. Because let's face it, he's got the best of both worlds, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got his independence. He can do what he likes. He's got three gorgeous, sexy women that are providing his every need.
He's got the money to pay for it.
Yeah, he doesn't want children. So, yeah. So I'm very happy. He said if he lived next door to me, he would be in every day.
Oh. And you wouldn't mind that one bit, would you?
I would say you'd be very welcome every day too, because he's the best fuck. We can do it for at least an hour.
Better watch that real estate listing. Watch the real estate listings. Get him to buy that house. I married one of my clients. He was my customer.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I did. He wore me
down.
Well done. He wore me down, my love.
Wow.
So 2.5 years. He came one night, saw me, took me for a dance, came back the next night because he couldn't get me off his mind, took me back for a dance, asked me out to dinner. I said, I'm married because I was married to husband 2.1. And so, or 2.0, I guess. Yeah. So, long story short, he came every week for 2.5 years. And I saw that I was sacrificing safety for intimacy in my first marriage, but I could have safety and intimacy with this person. So I did a switcheroo. And we've been together for 20 years now.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And he's the best lover I've ever had.
Another reason why I got into the escorting was I met two guys. One of them had met his girlfriend doing it, and one of them had met his wife doing it. And now he takes her to see all her clients, and then stays and out in the car park and takes her home again. So it does happen,
Yes.
Listen. And in fact, it was the guy whose girlfriend was doing it. He was the one that set my profile up on the site and explained all about it. So
I love that. Have you ever, like I understand with regulars, you can have a sense of kinship, friendship, empathy, affection. Have you ever fallen in love with somebody?
Well, funny you should say that. Not in the escorting, but that guy the first guy that I met that introduced me to the joy of sex, so to speak,
Yeah.
I did fall for him.
Was it
And
disappointing that it didn't go anywhere?
it was, it hurt for quite some time, I have to say. But I think firmly believe that actually he was the first person I ever really loved.
Hmm.
I think the others, because I could have got married way back when I was 17, but it was lust, not love. So I turned them down because, you know, wasn't in love with them. I mean, I enjoyed, you know, their company, but yeah. Whereas with him, yeah, I did. I really felt for him. So when I realised that he changed and things were not as they were, and I kept questioning him, as you do, you know, us ladies are rather perceptive, aren't we, as opposed to the guys?
Yes.
And I questioned and said, you know, on things he wasn't doing this that he used to, and he'd stop doing that, you know, blah blah blah. And he kept denying it, and that was when I turned and thought, he's lying to me. And it's kind of, I think, the feeling that most wives have when their husbands are cheating on them.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Has that experience kind of had you put a little bit more of a shield of a guard over your heart?
no, I don't think it has, because I have two friends. They're not clients, but I have two friends that I have known for quite a few years. One was through the swinging, and one was we just met, you know. And both, I am attracted to both of them. And if it was to develop, you know, I could go for it.
Mm,
But it's not going to.
right.
So one of them I have tried, but unfortunately, no, I better not say it in case he sees this.
Okay. Let's redirect. So, what about your friends and family? Do they know what you do? Are they opposed?
My friends are absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Um, they've all declared they wouldn't do it themselves, but they are perfectly fine with me doing it. Their two main concerns were, as long as I'm happy and as long as I'm safe, they will support me, and they have supported me.
Yeah.
And in fact, quite a few of them like to hear my stories.
Yes.
So my neighbours, some of my neighbours know what I do. In fact, I only discovered last year that one of my neighbours had known before they moved to where I am. In fact, they actually came to look at my house when I thought I had to sell my house. They came to look at mine, and then they came to look at another one 2 doors down, and they went for that one. And it was only last year when I just happened to call her, because she said she had a parcel. She said, "Oh, I've got a parcel." And she said, "You're the only Caroline I know." Now, obviously, Caroline is my stage name, so to speak. So she knows me as my proper name.
Right.
So when she said, "You're the only Caroline," I thought, oh, you know what I'm doing. And it turned out that actually they knew what I was doing before they even moved there. She used to have guys coming into work showing her videos on TikTok or wherever, saying, "Have you seen this woman?" And she'd go, "Yeah, that's my neighbour. Isn't she great?"
I love this. So, this shift, do you see that as a rebellion or an evolution?
It's definitely not a rebellion. I mean, I am a rebel in life generally. I think I was a rebel from when I was about 2 years old. But I mean, I don't know whether I'd call it an evolution, because it's like it just happened in a way. You know, there was never any thought about it. I never had any thoughts about it before. I started the swinging, but there was no thoughts about escorting at that time. I remember talking to a friend, and we were both poor, and she said, you know, because we were both needed money, she said, we're going to have to sell our bodies, you know, jokingly. And then I saw a program on the television about this lady that was doing phone sex. And she was in her kitchen, painting the kitchen with one hand, and on the phone talking dirty to a client. It was hysterical. And she had made enough money to completely renovate her house. So I called my friend and said, you've got to see this program. This woman's on there doing phone sex. Maybe this is what we should do. But how would we find out how to do it? So we never did find out how to do it. But in the meantime, the guys that I was doing swinging with were saying to me, you should do escorting. You be good at it and you get paid.
Yeah.
And that was how it happened.
So I started stripping when I was 21. I quit when I was 41 because I said to myself, it's time to age out of the industry. I'm looking at you going, maybe I should have stayed in. What is the draw in terms of your age? What do you think it is about you that draws people in?
Well, I don't know how long it has been now, but for some time, there is a big thing about grannies. And a lot of guys have granny fantasies. And there is a lot of granny porn out there,
right?
You know. So it has become, you know, a thing. And guys get into it, and then they go looking for them for us. And so, you know, I mean, you can be a grandmother practically in your 40s, can't you? So it doesn't, you know, you don't have to be 73. And so they look for you, and then they find your profile, and they think, yeah, wow, that's a granny I would like to play with. But I mean, I know there's one escort, one of my gorgeous favorite boy. One of the ladies he sees is 88.
Okay.
And she's been doing it for 30 years.
Amazing. I love hearing about these late stage women coming into this. Oh, it shows me a level of liberation and self-identity and just screw the world kind of attitude. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do whatever I want.
Absolutely. But a lot of women, the problem with a lot of women is that once they've gone through the menopause, they believe life is over.
Right.
You know, and it's so not. I mean, I get messages in the comments, you know, her saying, but what about the menopause? You know, is it possible? You know, because I'm 73 and, you know, I can't do anything like that. And I'm thinking, well, and then there was this conversation about the menopause and the thing that people suffer. I had an easy one, but, you know, I know that lots of people don't. They have a hard time. But there's now so much treatment that you can get to help all of those symptoms. You don't have to suffer now. You don't have to think that life is over. You can now get treatment and continue having a fabulous life.
Do you think watching porn is influencing the things that men are asking you to do?
Yeah. Particularly not necessarily the more normal things, but the not so normal.
Would you say that's for the better or for the worse?
It can be dangerous, I would say that, but then because there is so much out there now on social media, there are aspects of it that should not be allowed.
Right.
Whether that's for young people, you know, and the kind of weird distorted things that are happening, like the Andrew Tates of this world, going right the way through, you know, men being, one of my bi guys was talking about this strangling, choking
Yeah.
fetish thing. That kind of thing. It's like, no,
Hmm.
no. And I mean, the weird things like me being asked to suck a dog off. I mean, you know, that's just, you know, that's probably not dangerous, but it certainly is illegal and
Yeah.
certainly should not be encouraged.
I agree. I agree. Are younger men behaving differently than older men?
Yeah. Well, the guys in their 20s and early 30s, I have noticed, are being influenced by the likes of Andrew Tate.
Okay. And that can't be good because he's not
It is
good.
it is so not good,
Yeah.
because that is, I mean, porn in itself, okay, let's face it, porn as it is giving a false impression to anybody watching it that that is what is life is like.
Hmm.
That is how you treat people. You know, that is how you treat a woman. That is what sex is like. And so that is the dangerous part, is that they believe it's real. And so when they go and form a relationship, it then all gets really distorted and nasty and doesn't work, because they've taken that into the relationship.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
quite often I have conversations with the younger guys about how that is not normal, and how I believe they should be treating other women or even their peers, you know. And
And
they, I mean, I even had one guy who was meeting a woman that evening or the following evening, and he contacted me and said, could I just ask if I could come round and talk to you, because I'm meeting a lady and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it, what I should be
okay.
doing or what's wrong. And so he came round just for a chat. He paid me to have a chat. He said, I don't want you to do anything. I just want to talk to you to help me.
That's the best.
He'd been in an abusive relationship himself, and
Okay.
he'd got out of that. But it had left him, you know, scarred and screwed up and whatever. And he didn't want to carry that through to his next relationship, which, give him credit for that.
Hmm.
He came to see me twice.
I love that. I love that. Not only do they take direction well for the most part, but even some of them come to you to help them make sure as they go forward in life, they're treating other people the way they should.
Yeah. And that's part of what why I see the younger guys, you know, people say, oh, that's disgusting. Seeing a 20-year-old, you know, that's just vile and horrible. Just imagine the effect it's having on that young man. And I'm thinking, well, if you bothered to find out, you would actually realize that what I'm doing is the best thing for them. I'm introducing them to reality rather than what they're seeing on social media.
I agree. Caroline, before we go, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the final word so that you can tell people anything you feel we need to know.
Ooh, gosh. Um, don't judge people, I think, is the first thing. There are so many people that just judge other people. They assume things when they don't know. They go on social media and are absolutely vile with their comments, and they don't know where that person that they're really being vile about, they don't know what's going on in their life. And that really bugs me, because you don't know. It's the plague of social media, isn't it? You don't know that person that you're being vile to. You don't know what effect your comments are having on them. For me, it doesn't bother. Don't give a shit. Say what you like. I'll take you on. But
Hmm.
not everybody's like that. Some people are really vulnerable. Some people might be, you know, at a very low stage. That could tip them over the edge. You know, think before you comment. Ask questions by all means, but just stop that vile commenting and slagging people off and trying to bring them down.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't want anybody negative in my life anymore. I made that decision a couple of years ago. Anybody, my family are negative. That's a whole nother story, which I haven't got time for. But my family are negative, and I've decided now that if somebody's going to be really negative and not, support me, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to know. I want positive people in my life to encourage me and to care for me and love me and support me, to accept me who I am, not for what I do.
I accept you. I love you. I support you 100%.
I know you do.
Yes.
And likewise, I do you. I think you're amazing.
I appreciate you. Can we be friends?
Yeah, of course we can.
Where can people find you? Well,
Well,
I tried to find you on TikTok. I didn't see that you had your own page. Like, if people wanted
no.
to follow you somewhere, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter,
Okay.
X, as at Busty Granny.
Busty Granny. Okay.
Once you put in Caroline V into Google, you'll discover all kinds of things.
Did you want to tell us where people can find you if they want to come find your services?
If they want to, that's adultwork.com. They can look at all my pictures, all my sexy pictures. I've got hundreds of pictures on there, and I've got probably a couple of hundred short little video clips.
And do they pay for that, like OnlyFans? Because like on OnlyFans, you have to pay to look at your content, right?
Yeah, it's completely different. On OnlyFans, they pay a monthly subscription, don't they? Yes. On Adult Work, basically, you can go on there and you can purchase. You can look at my pictures for a day for a small fee, or you can look at them for a week for a bigger fee. Or you can look at them for a month. And then the videos, they're like £1 to £2 each. So they're just very small videos, 2 to 5 minutes long. Either me solo or me, playing with a guy. And for the guys, obviously, I call it wanking material.
Yes.
Which is why I keep it short.
You're right.
Because they don't want to watch a 20-minute video, do they? True. They just want, they've already got there, buffing the banana, as we say. And they just want something to finish off with.
I adore you. Oh my goodness. I can't say this enough. You are the best.
Oh, and I do webcam as well. I can do webcam. Anywhere in the world I can do webcam. I do.
Comfort of your own home.
Yeah. Just sit on cam and have a chat and a play and off we go.
I love you. Thank you so much for taking time out to come and talk to me today. It really does mean a lot.
Well, you're welcome. As I say, I like to do it because I like to educate people. So if we're spreading, good stuff to people and helping them understand and be educated, what more could we want?
My platform is all about education, and you have been a gold nugget in my platform.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you, Caroline.